and it's fairly new as far as some of that stuff goes. But she's having all of her data taken and having something done with it, which is super important to somebody that has spent their life serving. So we had a big birthday party for her and got that kind of information, and it was really good. I signed up for a grief group for parents who've lost their children for Heinz Hospice. And I'm feeling like I'm going with somebody else, but it was kind of kismet. I feel like it's kind of running around time for me to hit that. We're coming up on July will be a 2-year mark. And I think the first year you just hit your landmarks, you do what you do, and the second year you feel them. And so I'm just gonna get my parachute ready if I need it, if I don't, and so that was big joy, making time for joy. So
yeah,
thank you.
And there you go.
Am I the last? No more here. I'll take it. After I fall out of my blanket.
Hi, I'm Leah.
I didn't know what tonight was. I was just excited about being with women. So, were we supposed to talk about something specific?
Just how you're feeling.
Oh, okay. I'm really, I don't know. I've been really tired. Like I haven't been able to get enough sleep. Like my days and my nights are backwards. So, like I stay up until 5 a.m. My husband gets up and I go to bed. It's the weirdest thing, and I haven't had this problem in a long time. So something's going on, but I got to the root of things. So that's why I keep on coming.
That's right. Anybody else? Thank you. And then you can introduce yourself, and then we can start.
Okay.
Perfect.
So thank you for having me here tonight as a guest speaker. My name is Cheyenne, and it's been an interesting week for me myself. I've gone through a long journey with my spiritual connection that I had found for 6 years. Has taken another direction, but my spirit animal is the bird. So I feel like my wings are meant to be spread elsewhere. Tonight, I'm going to share with you my story, and it's going to maybe arouse some emotional parts about yourselves. So please guard yourselves, in your own safe space. But we are together. We're not alone. And through our struggle, we find that we're not alone. So with that, so there's tissue, because I'm probably gonna make you all cry, but here we go. So first I want to thank Dawn and the Sounds of Light for a Women's Circle for having me today in this sacred space. And I hope I don't cry, but I'm probably going to cry. So the title of the speech is It's Not the Fall, but the Getting Back Up. And I chose it because our famous athlete, Vince Lombardi, his famous quote was, "It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up." So I kind of do a little spin on that, on life. So I'm going to share with you why it's important to just keep getting back up. And you'll see at the very end. So hang in there. When we are born, we don't have a choice in who our parents will be. We don't have and also I should say that we are on recording. None of you are in the space. This is just audio recording. So this is a safe space. So none of your faces are being seen. So that's why the camera is in front of you, and because I'm sharing this on my YouTube podcast, which I hope that you will follow and support, because I'm trying to share more stories like my own. Yourself are welcome to be a guest, and it's Dragonfly Discussions. So That's why I have all of this. So, okay. Okay. When we are born, we don't have a choice in who we are and who our parents will be. We don't have a choice in the genetic history of our parents. We don't have the choice to pick our name. And we don't have a choice in what generational bloodlines we inherit. We just enter the world and absorb that which is our environment, that which is our influences, those which are our building blocks to stand on. We accept our parents and trust them automatically. We learn the definition of love immediately by the embrace of our parents holding us as a newborn baby and then speaking loving words to us. We continue to live with this family given to us and begin to form who we are as an individual. Through the influences around us, we begin to develop our language and behavior by mimicking it as this is all we know. Whether good or bad, all of this creates our identity and determines our future path ahead. When I was a baby, my father worked to support us as my mother was never capable of holding a job. Shortly after I was born, my birth mother began to drink and do drugs on a daily basis. As my father tried to keep my life normal as possible, chaos was stirring all around me. Arguments began, tears were shed, slamming doors were the constant. Daily yelling at each other became the norm. More drinking and more drug abuse developed than my birth mother. The first images of my mother were as a broken woman, never happy and very insecure as well as codependent. I recall her depending on me for her own happiness. She became jealous of me once I became independent, walking and talking more. I recall her lack of attention to me and her never playing with me and her ignoring me for a very long time, once as a baby when I almost fell off of a balcony. Thankfully, I did not fall, but I remember how scared the adults were. I recall my birth mother and father separating and my going into her care. I was scared to be in my birth mother's care and away from my father. I knew at a very young age what good and evil meant. I recall the violence of watching my birth mother be violently beaten by men who were drunk or high on drugs. I watched her snort drugs, smoke drugs, and inject drugs. She slept all the time, rarely showering or preparing meals for us. I remember being ignored by her and pushed aside. Many times my suitcase was thrown out the window of a second-story apartment by her drug-using friends because they didn't want a child around, only to watch it smash onto the pavement and all my clothes and stuffed animals scattered everywhere. I remember the feeling I had at that moment, a betrayal, and how hurt I was that someone would do that to my things. I cried a lot and felt scared when I was around my birth mother. I recall the abandonment I felt when finally, my mother left me in a dirty apartment and never returned. I remember the feeling of being hungry and wet in my diapers. Like seriously, I have memories when I was that young, like 2-3 years old. I was finally discovered by the neighbors, and my family finally came to get me. I remember the dismay my grandmother, aunt, and father had about me about being abandoned like that. This was when my father finally took me in his care at age 3 and cleverly gained full custody of me. This was when I realized my mother couldn't properly care for me as a mother should. So this is quite interesting back in the late 70s, because I'm a 77s baby. So what I mentioned is kind of ironic to those people. Well, not people, but to what was important back then in the 80s. As a baby, we fall down and everyone laughs. We think how cute she is. We then get help from others to stand back up and try again. We are encouraged. We are shown love and support. I recall the moment I fell out of my mother's love. I was around 3 years old when my father took full custody of me. My father was clever and knew my mother didn't really want me, so he offered her a KitchenAid mixer in exchange for me. Now, this is dating back, but a KitchenAid mixer was a really prized possession to have in your kitchen. So, this is really dating back to the 70s. So she quickly grabbed the mixer, signed the papers, and never looked back. That was the moment when I knew she didn't truly love me or want me. As I grew older, my birth mother was still allowed to have supervised visits with me. I recall her always appearing funny to me when she was still allowed to see me. She was obviously drunk or high, as she would be nervous, paranoid or shaky. Her neck and hands would jerk uncontrollably, and she would always be looking around as if the cops were after her. Her breath always smelled like alcohol, and she always smelled like dirt and cigarettes. She would give me gifts of stuffed animals from stores, and they too smelled like cigarettes and dirt. These supervised visits were in the company of my grandmother most times, who was a complete enabler and allowed my mother to take me to places where danger was in the midst. For the majority of my childhood, I would spend every other weekend in Exeter, California, visiting my grandmother, my birth mother's mother. So she was like my best friend growing up, my grandma. My grandmother was very naive and always believed that I was in good care when with my birth mother. Little did she know that she was releasing me into the chaotic world of drugs, sex, and violence. Little did my grandmother believe the horror that was happening, and little did she do to protect me from the harm. I think it was because my grandmother herself was a victim of domestic violence, and thus she felt trapped in the inability to stand up for herself. The inability to stand up for others, including her grandchild. While in the care of my grandmother, she allowed me to be exposed, and let me know if this is too much.
You guys okay?
Okay. She allowed me to be exposed to the nightmarish nights where I witnessed my violent alcoholic grandfather physically attack and abuse her, where most of the time I'd hide in the bedroom for fear he would come after me. The violent sounds of her screams for him to stop and her body slamming across the room and onto the floor scared me and showed me that even adults fall from grace, and even those you trust the most. There were countless weekend visits in Exeter when I was taken to houses full of drunks and drug addicts surrounding my birth mother. The bikers, because she hung out with a lot of bikers, the bikers and drug addicts my mother hung around with would often lock me in closets and small cabinets so I stayed out of their way. I recall being taken into stores by my mother and shown how to shoplift. I recall over and over the many beatings my mother or grandmother would endure only to wake up the next day as if nothing happened. Many mornings I would wake up from hearing my grandparents already up in the morning and always fearing what was on the other side of the door once I opened it. A lot of times I would go to bed with violent fights occurring between my grandmother and grandfather and unsure what was to be expected the next day. The normal routine in the mornings was that I would come out of the room and sit on the couch trying to ignore what had happened the night before. In the morning, my grandmother was always cheerful and pretending the abuse the night before hadn't occurred. She would literally wake up and say, "Cheyenne, good morning," just cheerful. She would fix me breakfast, mostly cereal and sometimes eggs. That was a special because they were very poor in Exeter. I remember as I tried to enjoy my cereal, my alcoholic grandfather, who started drinking at the crack of dawn, would begin to verbally abuse me and tell me how ugly I was. So he would sit in the chair next to me and I would be on the couch right here. And I'm trying to enjoy my cereal and he would be already up drinking and smoking cigarettes. And so this was my routine. So he smoked cigarettes and the smoke from his cigarette would often make its way into my face and it would bother me. It was odd. Cigarette smoke followed me. I don't know what it was, but I hated it and it would fall into my direction. I'm so I hated it as it hurt my lungs and my eyes and made it hard for me to breathe. I remember making a comment to my grandfather one morning that the smoke always followed in my direction and that it bothered me. This was when my grandfather explained to me that cigarette smoke followed me because I was ugly. I remember the feeling of complete unworthiness and shame and how much that impacted my self-esteem, all at the age of 7 years old. My grandmother quickly diminished that hurtful statement by telling me the tale that smoke follows beauty. You've all heard the wives' tales, smoke follows beauty. And not to pay attention to him. I wished it was that easy. Little did she know how much that impacted my entire existence and self-esteem at an early age. I remember my grandfather attempting to sexually peep on me when I was bathing. I bathed in their common bathroom shared between 2 bedrooms. It was a small house in Exeter, and it was 2 bedrooms and a bathroom that was all in kitchen. My grandfather would often purposely come into the bathroom to urinate. He would try to expose himself to me and I would turn away. He would try to get me to turn around and make fun of me because I didn't look at him. I remember covering myself in bubbles so he couldn't see my body. He would laugh at me wickedly and finish urinating and then leave. I remember when I was in my grandmother's care that there was no one who would protect me. I was afraid the majority of the time and walking on eggshells around my grandfather, afraid that anything would set him off in anger. My birth mother was absent a lot of the time during my childhood. I came to find out that this was due to her being locked up in jail for her crimes as a result of her drug habit. I was afraid to play outside on the schoolyard for fear my birth mother would get out of jail and kidnap me in exchange for money for drugs. That was a thing that was happening in the 80s. They were stealing kids and selling them to drug lords, and it was a big deal. I lived in embarrassment most of my life as none of the other kids had such a traumatic opposite side to their existence. At the age of 13 years old, the traumatic moments came to a final end when my birth mother and I had a visit together to the zoo, Chaffee Zoo. My father took me to the place where she lived in Fresno at the time. He dropped me off and I went inside. The place was dirty, smelled like cigarettes, and she was not ready, much less sober. I remember us leaving for a zoo day and her bringing along a container that I thought was water or soda. Throughout the visit together, my birth mother began to change, and by the end of the day, I realized she was too drunk to drive us home. Feeling scared, I got in the car while she attempted to drive us home. Due to her being completely drunk and me completely scared out of my mind, I demanded she pull over. I did. I took control. I then forced her to get into the passenger seat. After a quick fight, she eventually let me drive us home. And I'm like 13 years old, and all I'm doing driving wise is learning from what I've seen on TV and what I've seen my parents guide my older siblings on how to drive, because my dad was very he taught me how to drive. Like, he was such a good, so I was just going on my basic skills on how to keep this car from crashing, you know. And so we began to fight in the car. Let's see. That was the final breaking point of it all, and I finally told my father of all the ugly truth that was happening around me. That was when I realized again that I would never truly gain my mother's love, and decided to stand up for myself. I began to trust and live more in my father's love, leaning more into his love, and learning how to trust his love. At this point in my life, he was the only example of a healthy type of love, the only example of safety and trust. So, more to my topic of the story. As adults, we fall, and people judge. As adults, as adults, there are expectations placed on us. We don't get to choose this. Society chooses it for us. As adults, when we fall, we have to quickly get back up, or we are labeled. As adults, the pressures become more and more to perform and succeed. But what if, as an adult, the chaos versus normalcy returns and turns your life upside down, where you fall so far down, there appears no way up? At age 13, I was so lost and exhausted from all that I had been through. I never spoke about the violence and drug abuse when I was with my birth mother. I never exposed the mental and physical abuse I witnessed and endured by her parents, my grandparents. I never explained how much I was affected. I think the reason was partly it was too shameful and embarrassing to admit. And the other was that I didn't want to be taken away from my grandmother. She was a good woman. I really loved my grandmother despite her faults. She was fun and full of joy. She and I were like best friends, providing each other ways to escape the horrors surrounding us. I wouldn't recommend this. I wouldn't recommend this, as keeping things hidden and silent results in patterns of behavior that can become destructive. When I was 15 to 16 years old, I began to drink. By age 16, I also began to smoke pot, which I'm not an advocate. I love, I support 420 still. By age 17, I began to use methamphetamines. By age 22, I began injecting heroin and cocaine. My drug habit took me to places I never thought I'd go, such as stealing, prostitution, and many stays in jail, leading almost to prison. I was shown all of these bad habits by my mother, and now I was the one doing them. Now I was the one repeating history. As my habit grew worse, so did my crimes. I was arrested over and over for drug-related crimes. I was in and out of Fresno court system and placed on felony probation after a final arrest for large amounts of cocaine and heroin that were found in my purse. I began to live a life running from the cops and away from my family. The father who once protected me as a child could no longer protect me as an adult. He watched painfully as I fell further and further downward, as others around me judged me and ostracized me, and even my own step family turned their backs on me out of tough love. You all have heard the tough love. My father never gave up on me. He believed in me that someday I would get up, get away, and step apart from that life of drugs and trouble. During all of this, my father never stopped loving me, supporting me, encouraging me, and believing in me. He never judged me, but guided me to a better life. He would meet me for lunch and kept a distant eye on me during the worst of times. So he was still that loving, stretching arm of hope. So at age 28, and I'm now almost going to be 49. At age 28, I was arrested in major trouble. I decided to run from the law and from probation and live life on the road with my boyfriend at the time. We packed all our belongings and lived on the run for about a week. That's all it took. That's all it took was a week. I wasn't that good. But we were caught and arrested. The ironic thing was that I was actually thankful to be caught. I really, really was. It was like an answered prayer. I recall feeling happy because for some strange reason, I felt like my life was going to get better. Like a long-awaited prayer was being answered. I was placed in front of the judge, Judge Cisneros, who is a well-renowned judge in our Fresno Court District. She's a wonderful judge. She had known me throughout several years of my drug addiction. I was placed in the PCDC, which is the post-conviction drug court system. It kind of is still around now, but it was a really positive way to turn drug addicts and avoid them from going to prison and get them into rehab and not have them sustain all that traumatic experience in being in prison. And so she was an advocate for drug addicts to avoid all that. So I was placed in the PCDC system where the court tries to rehabilitate you rather than just lock you up in jail or prison. She was an advocate for drug users and believed in positive rehabilitation. I failed so many times with her, and this was my final time and my last ticket. Like, seriously, I had a rap sheet so long. I pleaded to her one last time to not send me to prison, but to give me another chance at rehab. I told her how this time I was ready to finally get help. She believed me, but gave me a very stern lecture. She told me that if I left this program, that I was going straight to Chowchilla prison for 5 years and no early release. 5 years. That was when I finally got help and entered into a long-term rehab called New Life for Girls. But this time I had no choice. I was facing 5 years in Chowchilla prison if I did not take this final chance of getting real help for my drug addiction. The judge ordered me to make the decision, so I decided to spend 2 years in rehab. I then entered into the program called New Life for Girls, which is a Christian-based program. The rehab began in Fresno, where I spent 6 months in one of their intro centers. Once they felt I had gained enough growth and change within myself, I was then sent to Dover, Pennsylvania, where I spent a year and where I met God on a new level atop a hill in the Pennsylvania woods. It was the most beautiful place I could ever have been sent to. And I needed to get away from Fresno. I needed to get away from here. So take me to the East Coast.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. It was amazing.
I haven't spent much time there.
It was really cool.
It's
I mean,
far away.
I was there long enough to see Amish, like the horse and buggies, and people like still in the Amish days, like horse and buggies, like living their Amish ways. Like it was, like, yeah, it was just magical. When I got to Dover, it was like I had entered the Garden of Eden, and I compare that to the Bible, the Garden of Eden. The compound was surrounded by large, tall trees, and all you could really hear were the sounds of birds. It was the most beautiful place on earth for me at the time, and I knew I was in a place where I was going to finally get help. A place where I was finally able to stand a chance of beating my addiction. The building was in the shape of a cross, and the dorm rooms were along the corridors, and a chapel at the end, and offices in the front. It had a basement where there was a kitchen. There were 4 girl rooms and 2 girl rooms to share space and bathrooms. I got acquainted. I immersed myself in forming a new spirituality for myself and spiritual relationship with God, nature, and myself. I studied the Bible because that was all we could basically read. It was a Christian program, so that's all we could read. That's all we could read. And we were tested on scripture, so that's all we could read. So I did the program. I focused on my future goals. I began to dream and manifest all those things I had hoped for myself. I began to stand tall and be proud of myself. I began to trust myself and my confidence returned. I began to forgive myself. I took classes based on the Bible and memorized scriptures over 100 words long. Like I had to write this stuff out, like in King James Version. Write this stuff out. Like I'm like, it was hard. It was really hard. So like basically like throughout this program, I'm just going to kind of jump ahead, but basically in this program, I really started to discover who I was and who I was in the eyes of God and the universe, and find my gifts and love myself, and just really and then also have like this manifesting dreams of who I wanted to become when I got back home and what I wanted to do. And of course I had a lot of stuff I needed to clean up, but I think I'm here today because of some of that manifestation, So I began to become spiritual and form a relationship not only with God, but to the earth, to nature, and to other people, and to myself. I began to feel this amazing love from the universe. It was like the universe was celebrating me, welcoming me back home to the roots of my core being. It was as if I was being washed daily in this new beauty and love. I had never experienced such a love before, nor a relationship with an unknown being you cannot see, but you can only believe. Pure faith. So part of this the program talks about how we get to go off. So they put you in kind of like where you turn into a student, into a staff. And so now you're staff into like one of the intro centers where there's new girls coming off the streets. And so now you're applying all the things that you've learned, and you're giving back into the girls that are fresh off the streets, and you're applying all your knowledge and stuff, and you're loving them and guiding them and hoping that they'll stay, and stick with the program. So I did that for 6 months in Chicago, which Chicago was amazing. Because there's like Chicago, there's Maryland, there's New York, there's like several on the East Coast. And the Fresno one, I think, has now closed. It's unfortunate, but I went by there and I've heard that it's now closed. So part of the graduation, so you do 6 months in intro, which I did 6 months. Then you do a year in Pennsylvania, which I did a year. And then you do about 3 to 6 months in like the reentry as a staff. So I did all that. So it was about 2 years in this program. So now I'm coming back and to graduate. They have a graduation in April and they have graduation in October. And so my whole timeline of events put me in the graduation of October. And you can have your family there and you can have people walking down the aisle just like a graduation and whatnot with flowers and be there to support you. But unfortunately at this time, my situation at home wasn't so great. I was given some bad news about my father, and you're gonna read about this now. So I was very excited to return home to my father and fall into his arms again. So nobody was there for my graduation. It was just the rehab, and so I came home because I was going to come home. There was no staying in Pennsylvania. You had your options. A lot of girls stayed away, but my destiny was to come back home. And the reason was because I wanted to get back home to my father, who I had just gotten news was diagnosed with glioblastoma brain cancer. So I knew I needed to come back home. So things had changed in the few months before coming home to my father, as he was diagnosed with glioblastoma brain cancer shortly before my graduation. Now my return home was more important than ever. The man I adored my entire life, the man who protected me, the man who loved me endlessly, the man who never gave up on me, the man who danced with me in the kitchen as a little girl, the man who dressed me and brushed my hair, the man who embraced me any chance he could, the man who taught me how to fix things around the house, the man who made jokes and showered with me and showed me how to drive at age 15. Like I said, he taught us all how to drive. Was now facing death. When I landed in Fresno, I was immediately taken to community hospital to see my father, who had now had his second brain surgery. Upon seeing each other, it was as if it was the day I was born at the same hospital in 1977. So here I am going back to community hospital where I was born. I'm seeing my dad. My father was overwhelmed with tears of joy and loved to see me. All I could do was lay in his arms, crying tears of joy, as well as a bit of fear because of the word cancer. But very grateful to be back together again with my father. I adored my father as he adored me. I recall all that I could feel at that time was his immense love and happiness that I was home, healed, and back to the little girl he always knew and raised me to be. So fast forward to now. I have 21 years sober and continue to thrive to make my father proud. My father unfortunately did pass away in November of 2007, but ironically, if you're a numbers person, it was 1 day, 1 month, and 1 year exactly after his passing from me coming home from rehab. It's kind of crazy. In that year together, we made the most of our time. We watched movies, we played in the pool, and he actually taught me how to make like our famous Jenvey stuffing, which is a dressing for Thanksgiving. So I was able to help him with his physical therapy as the brain surgery paralyzed 75% of his body. I did everything I could to be with my father, help him, and be the daughter he cherished. Ironically, when he was passing, the spirit told me that he was going to be passing soon, and I'm going to paraphrase all of this, but it was about a week before he was going to actually pass. and the spirit like awoke me, and I stood up out of my bed and like literally was like told this message that I needed to say my final goodbyes to my dad. And so I didn't know what this was about, but I was like, okay, I gotta follow suit. And so I did, because I was going in between. I was living in Visalia, and I was traveling to Fresno, and I was visiting my dad always every weekend. And so the spirit told me that you need to have this final conversation with your dad and let him know that you will never relapse on drugs. That it was like his dying wish that to know that his daughter was going to be okay. You know what I mean? And so I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so I did. And we had this most beautiful moment together where I sat on his bedside and I looked him in the eyes and I told him, Dad, I'm not going to ever relapse, and he cried, and it was very impactful because I could tell that he understood what I was telling him. And I think that was something that he needed to be able to pass on in peace. So I did that. So now we're going to fast forward to, as hard as it has been living without my father, my greatest hero, I feel I have kept my promise to him, and for that my path has been blessed. I continue to invite my father into my daily life, remembering him in all ways. Through his death, I inherited money, and with that, I chose to make my dream of mine become a reality, which is my book and telling my story and everything. Many people in rehab spoke over me in prophecy. So when I was in that rehab in New Life for Girls, like there was reverence. Like we would go to churches, like Protestant churches, Baptist churches, all kinds of churches. It was really cool. Like you never know. Like there's just really some cool churches. But I was on the choir, and so I sang, and I was at all of these churches, and all of these people kept telling me, Cheyenne, you're going to write a book. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. And they kept telling me this. And so I was like, well, maybe this is what they were talking about. So many people in rehab spoke over me in prophecy to write a book, even before I had the idea of passion. And so as a result, I wrote my autobiography titled Dragonflies and Demons, launched it worldwide in 2021, and now I'm sharing with the world my story of trials and triumph, sharing the joy of my journey so I can help others. I have had speaking engagements for those formerly incarcerated via the My Hands Tide. There's a local event around here that's called the My Hands Tide, providing hope and encouragement to others. They focus on those who have been formerly incarcerated and are getting out and helping them along their path. I have had the opportunity to serve inside Chowchilla Prison via the Land Together Farmers Market, which is incredible, providing fresh fruits, vegetables, and handmade soaps to incarcerated people. So, like literally, there's this group of people that go in to the prisons and have like this farmers market that gives. And it's like it's, I don't know what they say, pods A through E or whatever, it's kind of your better behavior type people. But they're able to just walk in and just pick their own flowers and vegetables and handmade soaps and all of this wonderful stuff to help them feel loved. I am also involved in the Holiday Gift Bag Project, providing Christmas goodie bags, which this is a flyer here. This serves 2,500 women in prison and provides goodie bags such as colorful pens, pencils, toothbrushes, flavorful lip balms, teas, hot cocoa, and candy. So if you want to support the women in prison, this is a flyer to grab. In 2025, I won my first book award, which is hidden back here. but I didn't bring the real statue because I don't want to break it. But I won an award for overcoming adversity. I won an award by the International Impact Book Awards. Overcoming adversity pretty much has been with me since birth. Wouldn't you say? And surviving a horrible drug addiction. Seems this is my motto, for which I am very proud of for myself, never giving up. Dragonflies and Demons is a raw, emotionally charged journey through trauma, resilience, and rediscovery. With haunting honesty, my book invites readers into the heart of survival, a place where pain transforms into power and darkness gives way to light. Told through vivid storytelling and poetic vulnerability, this book captures what it means to face one's inner demons, reclaim one's voice, and relearn to live again. And I'm not going to give you any more of the highlights, but I also have a YouTube podcast, which is called Dragonfly Discussions, and it's all about just sharing our stories and being vulnerable, and it's a safe space, and it's all about positive energy and healing. But to close this ends, I'm almost done, to explain why I chose the title of my speech. So the title of my speech is It's Not the Fall, but the Getting Back Up. Is because this is the essence of life. We will always have trials that will knock us down. There will always be adversity welcoming us each day. And just as babies, when we fall and everyone thinks it's cute, and as adults we fall, but we get back up, and everyone still thinks it's cute, just in a different way. To get back up in life is the true testament of my story. And all the failures and falls of my life, I have always gotten back up and faced the day again. I have been facing adversity since birth, when my birth mother abandoned me and never returned. I have overcome trial and trial throughout my life, and I've come up on top each and every time. I may not have realized the blessing amongst the pain but I am grateful for my past, my path, and my future. I hope to help and encourage many through my mistakes so others don't have to. I am honored to be of service to others and help them through my experience. Although I know my Father is not with me, I know He is proud. And then lastly, I would like to share further why the many reasons why the dragonfly symbolism was chosen as a metaphor for my book. So obviously I've overcome a lot of demons, right? But why the dragonfly? Mm-hmm. So the dragonfly is just a super cool insect for one. But it is the one insect that can go in all 5 directions in life. It can go forward and backwards, side to side, and diagonal. It can go 5 directions. So I do a comparison in my book and talk about how we can go in all kinds of directions in life. And that's just life. But coming back to who we truly are, the beautiful people we are, that we know we are, that's what matters. And the rest of it is all just learning lessons and little, steps that we have to take. But the dragonfly is also an insect that doesn't last very long. Its lifespan is very short. So if you see a dragonfly, or if you get to experience one, it's pretty magical. There's mythical theology that says that angels fly on the backs of the wings of dragonflies. I don't know. I love it all. So, it just, dragonflies, and they visit me. I see them randomly. So it's just, that's just why I chose the dragonfly. But that's all I have.
You're powering on this.
It's like, and birds.
Well,
Birds.
you told us that was the one question, the only question.
Yeah. You're waiting for it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a common symbol of transformation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. because it goes from a little nymph and through this whole transformation into this beautiful dragonfly. Like, what the hell? That's nothing really. Well, the butterfly goes from a caterpillar to a.
Mhm.
That's the only kind of other transformation I can think of. Yep.
Can I ask, was the program, did it follow a 12-step type
No,
program? Or it was just
No.
completely
Bible based.
Bible based?
Yep.
So you didn't do any of the steps or meetings or?
No, we were just up there on the Pennsylvania mountain plateau, deep in the woods of Pennsylvania. And yeah, that's all we could study. And we had it was a year of classes. So it was 6 months of the First Testament. And then it was 6 months of the Second Testament, And then we had to study it. We had to have courses. We had to write stuff, what the teacher wanted us to talk about, memorize scripture, write them out, reflect. Yeah.
So you filled yourself up with something holy, and you were in a holy place as in nature.
Yeah, so the spirit, I gravitated towards spirituality in nature form. Being on that mountain, like I connected with the trees and the birds. I watched woodpeckers. I had never seen a woodpecker in my life. I watched cloud formations, and I just sat there and I would listen to music because all the girls wanted to get into all the drama and all the gossip and stuff and do all their whatever. And I was like, I'm staying away from all that. I need to get through this, and I need to get out of here, and I need to get back home to my family and back to my life. And so I just would walk the compound, listen to music, and then just like I do now. Really, I do that now. I still am out there in nature. I'm still listening to music. I'm still finding my relationship with whatever higher being. I'm not trying to title it for anyone, but yeah, that's.
And were you allowed to have contact with your father while you were there?
We could have one weekly phone call. I think it was Sundays. We could have a weekly phone call, but during the week, we could just write letters. And it was just a specified approved list too. Like my ex-boyfriend, you couldn't talk to them. You couldn't talk to any of the bad drug
Influences.
bad influences.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to write your book?
Ooh. It started in 2015 when I had back surgery, and I opened up Pandora's box, and I wasn't ready for it all. The memories were a little bit too much, and so I closed it. And then COVID, I was furloughed on work, so I figured I need to occupy my time. Let's do it. So in 2019 through 2021, that's when I made it happen.
And can I ask, have you had any counseling, therapy, anything
Yeah.
like that?
Yes, lots. Yes, lots. Yes. Kaiser was my last.
So how many brothers and sisters do you have?
So I have a step brother and a step sister through my stepmom that my dad married. So, obviously my birth mother went her way. Father separated from her, got a divorce. The Catholic Church actually didn't even want to give them that divorce. He had to get an annulment. And so then he was able to, because he wanted to remarry. And so then he was able to remarry to my stepmom. And she had 2 kids from another marriage. So we were like a blended family, which was really amazing because they had a not so good father and I had not so good mother. So we blended together perfectly where she was a great mom and my dad was a great dad for them. And it worked out great. But then when I was sophomore year in high school, I learned that my birth mother had a baby. And that she was pregnant with a baby, and she was struggling with crack cocaine addiction, and the baby was addicted to drugs, and the state was going to take it away because he was having health problems and was probably not going to survive. So the state took him away, and she gave all rights to him too. Somebody took him, and somehow the funding came to be to where they funded for his heart to be reconstructed because he had a hole in his heart due to the drug abuse. And so he survived, he got adopted, and so I have a half brother, Tim. Yeah, from her. Separate fathers, but same mother. Yeah, when we're still close. Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead, maybe you go first.
What coping skills did you learn? Like when triggers come up, or did they teach you any kind of coping skills?
That's a good question. Through the therapy that I've gone through, the triggers are something that are kind of like a PTSD kind of thing. They kind of wrap it into that realm where you have to recognize the trigger, you have to be aware of the trigger, you have to know where you're in kind of sketchy area and guard yourself. And so what I've learned is when I'm in those triggering, where I don't put myself in those triggering moments anyways, I keep myself pretty protected, but I just try to, number one, count like 1, 2, 3, breathe, and then kind of step back and analyze the situation and say, do I need to get out? Do I need to get out? And so mine is kind of a fight or flight kind of a thing of protective for myself. But again, I don't really put myself in those situations anymore. I really don't.
Well, anybody can come up and say you're ugly, and you just
I've overcome that. So I've had to work through that whole verbal abuse. I've had to work through, and I tell myself positive affirmations over and over and over. I believe in printing out positive affirmations, putting them on the wall, looking at them, reiterating it, because it's all energy. And that's just, we're always going to have the enemy. We're always going to have that enemy, telling us we're nothing. And I'm not going to let that enemy get the best of me. I'm not. I'm just not. I'm not. My dad,
What happened to me yesterday, I just, they're all this let it go, let it go, let it go, but it's hard to let it go. And I just realized yesterday that it's just a journey.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And to kind of honor the journey,
It
because it caused you to look inward. I mean, really know who you are, and not put so much control on the outside.
Nobody really has control of us other than what we allow them.
Well, yeah.
So,
Well, yeah. But when you realize it's just a journey, it's just a teacher, it's just a thing, there's no letting it go. I mean, it's part of you.
well, and it's kind of embracing too. That's actually a really good awareness. To be able to have that perspective and look at that kind of a situation, be like, okay, this is just what it is, and it's actually kind of cool to be able to look at that.
Yeah,
and see it.
and because there's so many burning bubbles and New Year's, and you're like, okay, let it go, like it never happened.
No. When we do things here, I don't say
No,
let it go.
I know, but I think that a lot, and then it feels like it's hard to shake it off. And when it came to me yesterday in my meditation, that is just a journey. And to honor it.
And it's a chapter.
Yeah,
It's a
and
chapter that brings you, to
it
your
is
final.
like everything's a
Sorry.
teacher in your life,
Right.
and you don't have to be all fighting it. It's just a teacher to teach me to go inward and know who I am. So I found out that felt really good yesterday. I was like,
That's a good way
It is a
to look
good
at it.
I can deal with that,
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, so what was your, did you have a hard time getting it all down on paper? How did you stay inspired? Was there a lot of resistance, or were you just ready?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, in 2015, I had started it and opened kind of Pandora's box, and I, I don't know if we all have this teaching, but in English, they teach you how to, when you form a story, you start with a web, like you form with a circle idea, and you spiral out, and you spiral out, and you spiral out. So that's what I did. And I started writing, and I started going into those areas that I wasn't so comfortable with. And I just left it alone because I knew I wasn't ready to go into that area. Literally, like writing it out and transposing it in a healthy way. So I
It
figured,
was still like triggering when you got it all
it
down
was
the web. You're like,
triggering.
like
Yeah,
I
it
don't even
was
know
starting
if I
to
want
trigger.
to go there. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I took some time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when it, in 2019, I was like, I'm ready.
You're ready.
And then I
Was it like just free flow, like every day
Yes.
a little bit?
No, it was, oh my gosh, it was like every day, and I couldn't stop thinking about it in my sleep. Like the thoughts were just like just firing off, and I was just like, I gotta just write this, just write it. And it just developed. Yeah, and then I had, I had invested, like I said, I spent some of my inheritance money, and I spent like $15,000, or so in this dream. And I had editing, and it was a ghostwriting, and I wouldn't say to go through a ghostwriting, but there's Amazon publishing now where you can do it all pretty much on your own, self-publishing, which I wish I would have known about that back then, but I'm holding on. But it just all came into fruition. I did spend a lot of money. It does take a lot of money to write your own story. It does really take a lot of money. And you got to be careful of falling into a lot of the scams and things like that. But I wrote everything. I had editors, but I approved every final piece of it. So this is all mine. And then even the audio book.
You did an audiobook too?
Yeah,
Is it your
so-
voice?
No, I kind of wished it wasn't my voice, but no, I had another voice. But yeah, so I mean, I'm on Amazon. You can search. I have my little flyers where you can find your own little plateau that you're more familiar with, because there's other things like book reads and other plateaus that people are more comfortable with. But yeah, it just.
So was
It's
it
a dream come true.
Was it-
It's hard work, but
That's
yeah.
amazing.
was it really cathartic once you got your book done? Aside from just the work of publishing a book, but getting it all on paper and out, was that?
And it
really
still
cathartic
is. And it
process?
still is. Like, as I'm talking to you all, like, I'm still going through stuff that I'm still
You're empowered.
I'm still somewhat processing, but through talking about it, it almost releases the hold, and it puts it out there. And I find that other people are in this, or have experienced the same thing. So I find strength, in community. And
I have to say, I identify. I too grew up with a similar childhood. I had grandparents that they took me over. I always say I was graced by time, because my mom had 5 children, less than a year apart. Then she had a nervous breakdown, went into a mental hospital, met my father. And so she went into drugs and alcohol, and then had an abusive man in her life with her children, and a lot of trauma happened. And I was old enough, I got protected. I got that, like you said, your grandmother. I had a grandmother and a grandfather that took me in, but they weren't great for my self-esteem, because you couldn't have an opinion. You couldn't, but I knew that I knew that was a safer place. And then my mom went into drugs and alcohol, and all of her kids went into drugs and alcohol. She was just like the little duck. And then mama duck that the kids all followed. And I watched them do that. And I didn't really participate because, again, it was graced by time. And then my mom came out, and then all the little ducks came out. And my mom died 15 years ago. So I identify with the biggest thing you can ever do in your life is to help your parents transition. To be there, to be an active part, to have them say whatever they need to say to you, for you to say whatever you need to say to them is huge. Yeah. And she went out, so 32 years clean and sober. She had a wooden chip. Yeah. So it could go in the fire with her.
Wow.
Yeah. So I identify with a lot of the stuff that you were saying. Just I'm a people person. I fell into people, not drugs and alcohol. So I have my own issues.
Hey, no judgment here.
I have a question about, but you did a lot of memorization and Bible work, and you now go to a Unitarian Universalist church. So what's your take on all of that?
We're pretty spiritual in this group.
So, like, I call myself a recovering Catholic and recovering Christian. And like, I struggled for a long time trying to find a spiritual home. And I got a massage by the wonderful Mars, by Mars. And she was just like, no, it wasn't Mars. No, it wasn't Mars. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I have had a massage, but I know Mars. But anyways, I got a massage. Sorry, she just brings me to mind. But, and the person was saying, and I was telling her how I just need to find a church that just accepts me for me, and I don't need to fall into such this Jesus Bible thumping and all this stuff. And so they suggested UU. And so I tried it, and it was right around COVID. And it was right around when we all shut down. So it was like 2020. And I stepped in there, and my spirit just felt home. Like, my spirit literally just lit up just with this vibration of love. And like, I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is all about, but this is something. So I stayed, and then they went online because COVID shut us all down. And so I partook in the online sessions, and I still felt my spirit belong there. Now I got to tell you, I'm 6 years a UU, and I'm now embarking on a whole new journey. The UU may not be, the UU Church of Fresno may not be my source of spirituality. Maybe, this circle and everything that is here, I'm trying to find a new spiritual path because some things have changed and shifted there, and that's okay. My time might be up, but I'm not giving up on the UU faith, because the UU faith really finds itself in, they balance themselves in a place of love. And they find themselves with connection with spirituality, with nature, which I'm a huge spirituality with nature. And so, they've guided me, and they've given me a lot of really good stuff. Meditation, Buddhism, like, they encompass a lot of things. They respect Christianity. They respect it all, and I'm not really a Jesus. I think Jesus was a really cool dude. I think he was a really social justice activist, but I don't think he ever wanted to be worshipped and idolized. And so, like, I find my center with God and the universe, something bigger, because in the Bible, it says that the universe fits in the palm of God's hand, right? Like in Genesis, it says that God the universe stretches from his thumb to his pinky in the palm of his hand. So doesn't that say how big God is? Like, so I'm like, why not go to God? You know?
Right.
So, you know,
Because it's not really a man. It's not really
Yeah,
a hand. It's just a
Right.
metaphor.
it's a metaphor, but it's
Yeah.
just how encompassing.
But they try to make God into a person
Yeah,
or
just
some Santa Claus.
yeah,
Mhm.
but it still is so encompassing how big spirituality is. Like,
Yeah.
You know, who's to put it in a box? Like I'm not fitting in a box.
Did your father have a religious base?
Catholic.
And obviously your mom did not.
I don't know my birth mom's. I don't know any of her. I don't know her. I don't have any relationship with her. I never have. I
Do
don't
you
have.
know if she's still living?
She is still living. Unfortunately.
That's wild.
It's just-
Oh, do you see her? That's wild. You see her?
I know that she's alive. I have ways of knowing that she's still
But
alive.
have you
because-
seen her? You.
I did. She she sent me a letter. She always sends me these crazy wild ass cards and letters with her crazy handwriting, and I burned it.
Oh.
I burned it, and I did this kind of a seance, you know, over her because I know she's still out there. But I got the address, and she was in Exeter, and so I went to the address, and I went to the place where she was living, and she wasn't there. She wasn't there, and the door was wide open, and I walked right into her place, and it was just this disheveled place of just an empty couch and just garbage, and it smelled like cigarettes and all these pill bottles all over the counter. And I took pictures of the pill bottles because I wanted to know, because she is schizophrenic, multiple personality, bipolar, all that stuff.
And nobody
Which-
ever treated her for any of that.
A
Did-
lot
did-
of
They
times
try.
they're treating themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with drugs.
That's- that's
she
where addiction
Yeah.
she's not one to want help. Like,
Most people that are mentally ill don't want help.
Yeah.
They think they're just fine.
well, and it's crazy because our family has tried to support her.
Yeah.
Has tried to
Yeah.
support, but she almost set my grandmother's house on fire a couple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
They're dangerous people.
You know, and almost tried to assault my grandmother.
I always think about people like that, you know, I'm like, dang, to come here and like sign up for that life,
Right?
like, whoa, you know, like I kind of, you know, her higher self was like, you're gonna come down here and you're gonna be like this lesson for all these
Yeah.
people. It's just like, there's like a part where you're like, thank you for going through all that horrible pain so that other people can like
Learn
rise
through it,
from
yeah,
that,
and
you
just
know?
yeah,
It's just
and also know they're not alone because it's
Mhm.
there's still people out there that have the same kind of situations and are still struggling. out there. Yeah.
So thank you for your
Thank you.
vulnerability and your courage. I shared a little bit with Cheyenne earlier. All three of my younger sisters have or have had drug problems, serious drug problems, been arrested, all that. Somehow I didn't have to go through that. And I have a stepdaughter who's in addiction. And it's been hard. It's been hard to witness her journey, but good to think about it as a journey.
Yeah.
She's 42. The arc of her life is not over,
Yeah.
but it's been hard, you know, to witness that. So thank you. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll go ahead and close out with our checkout, and then I wanted to get a couple books for my sisters. So if you guys are interested in that, and I did, so I'm checking out feeling very, very grateful. And I did want to talk about what we're going to do next week because I just posted it today.
I saw.
I kind of
here.
talked about it, but I better get all that done. And it's walking with my shadow, an evening of deep healing and self-acceptance. And in this group, we have talked about working with our shadow and doing our shadow work and everything. And it feels like it's probably time to do that again. So
Good time of year for that.
Huh?
Good time of year for it.
yes,
Yeah.
I think so.
Wow.
I feel like
So- So that's me, and I'll try to get a little thing for the other side of that.
Oh, whatever. But Cheyenne, I want to welcome you to come on Monday nights.
Yeah.
And applaud you for your vulnerability. And now that we know you, I mean, it would be so nice to have you come. And we do have a pretty accepting spiritual.
Yeah, we're very eclectic.
Very
Uh,
We're going all over the place.
I mean,
Not
there-
that kind of group.
there's some clairvoyant people in here, and so and Christians and Catholics and all that.
That's
so,
And witches and.
That's
okay. That's
So, and there isn't any creed.
okay. I like
It's just the woman spirit, and we honor that we all come with the womb and we're the creators and we're women, So I really do want to welcome, and I hope I see you. I'm kind of here and there because I travel a lot, but when Don's always told me about my tribe, and it's so fun to kind of, and here I'm checking out too long, to be able to see these friends of mine, how they really don't have my back, but they're your friends, and they're somebody you can go to and talk to, but yet they're going to interrupt me and da-da-da-da. And now I know that, I really like my tribe because we have each other's back, and there is no competition
Yeah.
like that. And so I've almost learned to, especially with some help, have some boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I thank you for your story, and I hope you come back.
Thank you.
Suzanne, also want to thank you for your stories, your shines, and thank you for your vulnerabilities and stuff. When you think your life is tough and your childhood and what have you, hearing others. I know there's no comparisons, we all each has our own story, but at least it's showed that, we can get through it. Our darkness is make us who we are today and make us, as you say, resilient, stronger and stuff. Going through a lot, and I also very inspired by your books because I've been told us many times to write my own books, and I have started many times, but due to family members, I kind of drop it, and hopefully I will try again and pick it up in a couple of years, and maybe when I retire.
You're inspiring us.
So really inspiring, and so thank you, and really grateful for that, so it's this, I guess, life at the end of the tunnel. Maybe more freeing once you get it out in the opens and write it all down, and free yourself from that cage that we say, that we. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
Christian checking out. I agree with all the ladies, it shows their strength to be able to come out and talk and have that vulnerability, and also too, congratulations on your sobriety. It's really hard to make that leap and to be able to go into sobriety and to stay sober that long, and especially you have a good reason to. Your dad gave you that strength.
Yeah.
He's he's watching over you, and just thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I forgot that this was happening. I never I don't know.
Yeah, I just show up.
I know.
I do too. I don't like the topic.
99%.
So I apologize for being late. it seems to be the running theme this year so far. Anyways, thank you for sharing your story. Too many relatable things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley, checking out. My sister has struggled with addiction for many years too. So there's a lot of ways where in some ways I can relate. And I also feel like I've been told a million times that I need to write a book about my life, and I just the thought of it just
It's
daunting.
Yeah, it's very daunting. Yeah,
But
it's a lot
it's
of discipline.
it's great to see that like you've done that. I'm like, okay, maybe we'll see. I'll have to simmer on it for
It's like, you know,
a while longer.
have you heard how they like authors take themselves away to like secret spaces to like just hibernate for 3 months just to write their book?
Like COVID gave you that.
That's COVID gave me that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Kind of
Yeah. You kind of have to get into that element. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like when you have the inspiration to just like let it come,
Yeah.
let it come through.
Yeah. And it can happen in random moments. Like it doesn't have to happen all at once. Like it can happen like sometimes I get inspiration in the middle of the day, you know, and I'll write it out, or I'll just put it out there and then I'll just store it, and then I accumulate all this stuff, you know, and then together it forms your book.
Yeah, that little spider web idea.
Yeah.
I do that with my dreams. I dream map
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
So I can get like the story
Yeah.
that's kind of coming out through that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And I have a collection of those like
Yeah.
dreams, so that might be interesting.
Yeah.
So that was inspiring me.
Yay.
And then I just wanted to announce, like, we have my husband and my nonprofit, the Counter Complex. We have an event coming up on 14th on Valentine's Day. There's this neuroscientist called Jacques Pansek, and he found that there was these like primal instincts that all mammals have, including humans, and the main one is care. And it's the biggest, it's the most important instinct. It's the first instinct that develops, and it's the one instinct that if that one is like offline or you're unattached from it, like it wreaks havoc in your life and all your relationships. But it also, if you can heal that one instinct, everything can fall in line. Even if you have other instincts that like need some, if you need to work on your rage, or if you can get care online, like that just will heal like 75% of whatever problem or issue you're having. So we're doing a instinctive care ceremony, and there's going to be live music, and I'm going to serve cacao. Catherine's going to be doing music along with my husband, and we're going to just talk about the care instinct. It's going to be here, here. We're going to talk about care. We're going to go through like embodiment practices, like have the opportunity to care for one another in different ways. And the neuroscientist, Jacques, he described the care instinct as being seen and seeing others.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole day, or the whole ceremony, it'll be from 11 to 3. It's all about being seen and seeing others. So
that's good.
Yeah, and singles, couples, it doesn't matter. Whoever wants to come, it's not a typical Valentine's Day.
I'm going to be there, and I think it's a perfect.
Oh, that's
What day is it?
Yeah.
Saturday?
It's a Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
It's going to be here, and then it's going to be 44, and we're going to have cacao and like snacks for you, and then
Well, that's coming up real soon.
on the 14th. Yeah. So not this weekend, but the following.
There's a flyer right
Yeah, there's
there.
a flyer up there, and then I have a sign-up sheet. If you're interested, I can send you more information.
Yeah, I am.
Mhm.
It's like my game up there.
And before we move from Ashley, are you doing your women's?
Oh
Yeah.
yes. I'm doing a women's circle online every Tuesday night, and that's been really awesome. And this month, like our whole like month, we're talking about like female sexuality. So we have a couple different speakers that like are one is like working with the womb, Another woman is like, how to ask for what you want.
Cool.
So we're just going to be exploring that whole topic for the whole month.
6 o'clock.
6:30. 6:30 on Tuesday.
And the dream thing is still going on?
Yeah, and that's every other Sunday. So we just had that this Sunday. I'm like, oh my God, thank you guys for reminding me of my job.
I started taking melatonin, and man, when I take the melatonin, I dream.
Yeah, good.
I'm like, oh my God, I got something to talk about now.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
I gotta start. I got you on the calendar now. I'm gonna get some melatonin. So I'll
There
be
you
all
go.
lined
There
up.
you go. And that
Right,
tea,
right.
too, that I gave you, that helps dreams too. But yeah, dreams have been so juicy for me, and like for our group, it's like crazy how much movement you can get in your life just from like examining
And
one
it seems
dream.
like a little sleep aid, like the melatonin, keeps me asleep so I get to dream.
Yes, because like dreaming is a natural effect of like good sleep.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's REM.
It's
And
you're
normally
supposed
it's
to
just
dream.
Yes, yeah,
like that.
yeah. It's working out your subconscious.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you need to do shadow work, like that's
Yeah.
the best way.
I
That's like
want
the easiest way to get there.
that
Yeah.
I love
That's
dream
just free.
study.
That's just like our offering.
I love.
We love doing dreams.
What
Dreams are
is
so
that?
fun.
When is that one?
Sunday, every other Sunday.
And that's
Oh, I
here?
bet.
That's we all online.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can do it in your pajamas.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sunday at 6 or what?
Yes.
It's,
6:30.
6:30?
There's pictures.
It's the rhythms of the night.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And it's got your number, Ashley.
Yeah, and you can just push your if anybody's interested in that, just put your numbers on that sheet, and I'll just text you all you guys a link. That way you just have it. You can come whenever.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Little gimpy thing.
It's falling apart.
It's like I've aged. You guys have thrown me away.
Everybody has to.
yeah, everybody has to.
Cheyenne, so nice to meet you. Love to receive the light you share. It's exquisite. And you basically channeled your book.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
And gosh, what a way to write a book. That's the best, I would assume. Me writing a book, if you ever see that, that's a miracle.
That's what I say.
Hope to see you again.
Yes, I will be back.
I can still do it. It's just
Fine. Yeah, it almost sounds like it.
Joy checking out. Much gratitude for your story, for your life, for just the fact that you can go through something and come back out and beam a light of hope. And you're welcome in this circle anytime. I'd also like to invite you to, a lot of people here know I lost my son. It'll be 2 years in July. Domestic violence. He was murdered. So it was a pretty traumatic thing. The two things that has got me through that was this women's circle. And at the same time, I joined New Thought Community. So,
Part of community.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I've been there a couple
New
times.
Thought is the same premises.
Yeah.
It's everybody's welcome. All the stuff is
Yeah.
up there. They do a meditation beforehand. I haven't got into the writings, but the writings actually, Ernest Holmes parallels the same gentleman who wrote the 12-step program. So that was when thoughts were changing about the way we are living, right? And that's kind of what a lot of us believe. So it's my happy places. I just go from Monday to Sunday, and I'm good.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
good.
agree.
Yeah, so it's really, really helped me. Writing a book. I don't know. That one's one of those things that gets thrown at me sometimes because I do write, and I struggle with it. But I hear that there's a lot of technology out there you can put stories in and it'll spit you out an AI story.
Don't talk.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
so I'm really grateful to you. I'm interested and can't wait to. I will either do your audio or do your book.
Good.
I struggle with reading, so
No, it's okay.
yeah.
Just got the audio.
Oh,
there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
On
I
Amazon?
drive a lot. What's that?
On Amazon?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good,
I
good,
miss
good.
that credit.
She's got a nice voice.
Yeah, I just
Michaela.
driving a lot. and
Yeah,
it's easy
yeah.
to do.
Yeah, in fact, I'm trying to transition my podcast more into audio because I hear audio is more the thing than video.
Well, it's a lot easier to do too.
And you
Yeah,
can
you can multitask.
You can do it while
Yeah,
you're
so
doing
I'm
things, yeah.
transitioning all my videos to audio.
Yeah.
I'd also like to put out there too, I am the Flourish for Kristen McNew's. He's doing a sound bath, that's my husband. He's doing a sound bath. He's one of the practitioners in the, what do we call it? The collective.
All right,
I just
sounds
realized
like
the other
collective.
day that is totally Star Trek.
Right?
The board? Yeah. I loved it. I got so excited. So he's doing a sound bath this Friday, and he just did one last Friday. He does 2 Fridays a month. And he just did one last Friday. And when I say I'm the Flourish, I help with immersement. So I go around and make other noises to help,
Oh, yeah,
That's
I get to do
Yeah,
that part.
I have
That
a lot of little things. I'm usually exhausted afterwards, so I think I need to do some more grounding beforehand. The last one he just did, he brought in his tongue drum, and it was absolutely beautiful. And so he did the tongue drums and the crystal balls, and then I did the flourish. So he's going to have, I think he's bringing his Tibetan bowls the next sound bath, and I'm not sure what. He mixes it up a little differently. He puts a lot into it. He's made to do this. On the 20th, he's going to do a gong bath, and that's to bring in the fire horse. And,
That's the official day, right?
Yeah.
Or officially in the fireworks.
The Lunar New Year.
So
What day is that?
the 20th is the
It's
New
a
Year's?
Friday.
It's a
I
Friday.
thought it was the 17th,
Oh.
but close enough.
Yeah.
They do 15 days of celebration.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he's probably in there somewhere.
They have a long New Year with the lunar.
And the gong
That's
bath is different than the sound bath. It's a lot more clearing. It's a lot more staining. It's a lot more. I've been learning a lot about the sound baths and the vibration and how stuff works, but the gong is different. They'll do a gong bath for 12 hours. So we want to get some more people to do it. And a practitioner will spend 3 hours, and then another practitioner will spend 3 hours.
Wow.
And yeah, that's a thing. So
I did not know.
but it's crazy.
Can't even imagine.
I
7
know.
o'clock? What time?
6:30 on the 20th if you want the gong bath, and then 6:30 on the 6th if you want the sound bath.
Is it all on the calendar?
It's on the Sounds of the Light.
Okay, I just making sure. I just started using it.
Yeah. And then I think he sent me something, but I'll get him to, I'm gonna take a picture and go, look what your friends are doing. So I'm kind of his media person too.
There you go.
That is true.
Somebody's gotta do it.
Right?
All right, ladies, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be vulnerable and also being receptive to me and being so loving and welcoming. I really felt the spirit of love and unity here, and it's really, it's really beautiful what you've developed here, Dawn, and what you all have together, and I really want to come back. Because I'm looking for some more spiritual strength, and what better in women and us women. So thank you for just welcoming me here. Thank you.
And your podcast is Dragonfly
Discussions.
Discussions.
Dragonfly Discussions.
And we can find that on YouTube.
YouTube, I'm primarily doing it Tuesdays, and you can grab a flyer Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Yeah, and right now I'm doing deeper dives into my book. I'm doing chapter reads. We're on chapter 6. We're just going into chapter 6 tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm kind of giving you a little bit more depth in between the lines because I left a lot out. In analyzing my book, I left a lot out, and I kind of did it on purpose to kind of give you some, I want more kind of, like I want more. So I did that on purpose, and so that's what I'm giving you. And then I'm going to open it up to more other discussions. I have this, I was given by my church somebody who gave me Proverbs and Psalms, and there are these little index cards. So I'm going to pull random things out, and I'm going to speak of the Dragonfly's wisdom, of my interpretation of it, and discuss it. And then
I went on and saw you live right now.
The wonders of technology.
Yeah. So then I'm also going to talk about bipolar because I have acute bipolar and living with bipolar, and just other things, relationships. The stigma of being single. Like it's not wrong to be single. It's okay for us single ladies. Just random discussions. And then I do interviews. I just did an interview where a man from our church lost his son to a heroin overdose. So I interviewed him, and it was kind of a parallel where I'm with this father losing their child, whereas I'm a child surviving losing their father. And it was just, I was a former drug addict, so it was just kind of this parallel. It was really beautiful. So I have another interview this Wednesday with Mars. I am going to be interviewing Mars. So we're going to be highlighting her and her expertise and her journey and what she's been through and to get her to where she's at now. And yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
Dawn, I wanted to add one thing too that I wanted to tell you ladies. I have been having more and more moments of just peace. Like a blissful, contented peace. And I can only say that is my self-evolving, shifting into a new place where I don't accept anxiety and I don't accept fear. It feels finally, and this is a scared little girl. This has been a scared little abandoned girl all my life that always felt like I had to have another person to be whole. And I actually have more moments where I almost get giddy with excitement, or I just become serene and calm and realize I've stepped into me. And I feel
so good.
Yeah.
I feel
and I know I'm in
awesome.
good company.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not my company, you will be. That's what I want to tell you.
Sometimes after my meditation in the morning, I feel like I'm stoned.
Yeah.
And
It's
I,
cheap weed.
and I'm not, I just like, whoa, did I have an edible? What? And it's just like, yeah, I like this,
And then lastly, I did want to mention this coming Sunday, 2 to 4 here, the Vibe Tribe, Mario Sosa and Angie Hicks and I have been very touched by the monks who are making the pilgrimage from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C. They're supposed to get there, they said, about February 11th.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to honor them. So we're doing sacred steps, and we'll do a song because Angie Hicks loves to lead us in songs about peace. And we'll do some mindfulness, meditation, discussion about tools to keep our peace. And then the monks have been giving away little string bracelets like this, and they're called Saisin. And I ordered 100 of them from Thailand, and they are blessed but we will bless them too. So I've got one for everybody. who
I'm gonna-
comes.
That's just
Sunday.
Sunday.
Oh,
I've been following
Sunday.
the cookies
I know, I
box.
haven't been-
I'll bring them to one
Yeah.
circle after that, just so it's.
I don't know why they're not more on the news. Why
Next
are they
Monday.
not more publicized?
So they're on the news like over there, like Raleigh.
East
So
Coast.
I'll go on YouTube and I'll see, oh, the local news. And then once they start following up, they kind of continue these local news venues over on the East Coast. So I'm finding, I get up in the morning and I see where they are, where they spent
Yeah,
the
me too,
night
yeah.
and everything. And I'm finding all that on YouTube.
Mhm.
But I have watched, so I am surprised there isn't more
I'm
on.
just surprised just some mention on the
Right.
local news to say this is happening and they're gonna be in Washington and
The
they're
local,
trying to.
the news, they're pushing for war.
I
They're
know.
not
Yeah,
pushing
yeah,
for
there you go.
It's just.
I did think about sending out a press release to our local news vendors for the event
Yeah.
on Sunday. So, and I'm sure if I don't know how to do that ChatGPT can help me. So, and
You'll figure it out.
and to put out a news release.
Yeah.
You'll do
We
it.
did talk about
It's a
if
good
we
idea.
do get too many people RSVPing, we could move outside. I think it's going to be like 65 or 68 that day. So
That's pretty good.
cooler, but not too bad. So if
That
we
sounds
needed to, we can move out. So, but I guess I will go ahead and do that. That thought
We should.
occurred to me to
We should.
to see if the local news would carry it.
Mhm.
We'll see.
And the world, we undersell how much we do in this room by
Yeah.
the work that we do,
Mhm.
how it trickles out. We don't even really know
Mhm.
what it does.
Exactly.
So the more, the more Dawn that we get out there, the more opportunities
Thank you.
people can have for the other way to think.
And it's energy, it's spreading positive,
Right,
peaceful
exactly.
energy into the atmosphere that we need right now to opposite all the crazy that's going on now.
Try to balance it.
The balance it, yeah.
So if I can get you to
Okay.
put away your chairs, if you want books, go ahead and talk to Cheyenne. And we are collecting our love offering, which will go to Cheyenne.